Thanks to Massdrop, they've got a lot of cool gear, and they utilize the power of group buys to save you money. You can check them out at massdrop.com or click on the link in the description. Thanks to Corsair, they've got a lot of new stuff going on. Be sure to check out all of our booth coverage by clicking on the link in the description. Thanks to you guys, our Patreon members and our tech support members. We are trying to expand and hire new people, and we want to keep the integrity of our content. Thanks for giving. You guys are awesome.
Are you a Patriot? You should be. If not, you're un-American, and then terrorists win. Anyway, we're at Patriot. We're at the Bellagio. Unless they're British. I guess that only applies to Americans. So right here we have the Stellar C. This is up to 64 gigs of USB Type-C or Type-A storage. It's also 3.1 compatible, so up to 110 megabytes per second transfer speeds. That's pretty fancy. Oh, it's also USB on the go compatible, as Kane has just let me know about. There's other things here. Let's flip around to the super fast side, right? Okay, super fast sides over here. These two are the main that I want to talk about. These are all pretty fast, but this is the Supersonic Magnum 2, up to 512 gigabytes of storage, up to 400 megabytes per second read, and up to 300 megabytes per second write. So it's basically like an SSD that you plug in via USB, and you get all that goodness. This one down here is the Supersonic Rage 2, up to 256 gigs. It's a little bit smaller form factor, you might notice, but still the same speeds. 400 megabytes per second read, 300 megabytes per second write. That's super duper fast. Let's look at some of their SSDs that they have right over here. Patriot Ignite, of course. This is the new one that they're coming out with. It's a Viper. This is the 1 terabyte version. It's empty. There's actually no drive inside. It's just on the outside. Yeah, this one's going to be really fast, we're told. 600 to 700 megabytes per second is what we are told. And I was like, wait, but it's SATA. It's going to be SATA, but it's SATA NVMe. So using the NVMe protocol, I guess they're able to squeeze some extra performance out of that. They got the Pyro and the Blaze. These are already out, and I just broke their display. Okay, here's the one I'm excited about. That's the Hellfire right here. Not only does it have a cool name, it's called Hellfire. This is a 480 gig model. This is actually 22-110, so it's 110 millimeter length. This is not going to be the final version. They're going to have basically all the same internals here, but they're going to use a smaller PCB 2280, which has a much greater compatibility with a lot of motherboards that are out on the market. But look at the freaking specs on this one. 2,500 megabytes per second reads. Not too shabby. Writes a bit slower at 600 megabytes per second. If that's not fast enough for you, we have one more thing that we're going to show you in just a second. But before we get to there, let's look at this memory kit right here. Viper Elite DDR4. This memory kit, at least right now, is like $1,000, but it's because it's a 64 gig kit. These are all 16 gig sticks. 4x16 gives you 64 gigs. That's insane. And 4 DIMM slots. 1618, 1836 is the timing. And of course, they've got the rest of the Viper series here, which is also already available. Oh, this kit will be available in smaller sizes. I'm also told by Kane. Thank you, Kane. 8 gig all the way up to 64 gigs. So if you need some high density memory, then check that out. Here's the Gauntlet 4. This is external storage. I'm going to start by showing you the cables because this is USB 3.1 Gen 2. And there's a significant difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2. If you want the full speed of USB 3.1, which is 10 gigabits per second throughput, or at least maximum bandwidth, then you want 3.1 Gen 2. That's what these are compatible with. So it comes with a couple different cables. You have a Type-C connector there. You also have a Type-A connector that's available. Speeds are going to be the same between both of those because they're USB 3.1 Gen 2. And then here's the housing that they're going to work with too. So pretty standard as external storage goes, but these are going to be able to achieve much higher throughput speeds. Again, these are still in the sort of their development stages, so we don't have like exact numbers on them, but they're going to be really fast. Anyway, Gauntlet 4 also available as the Gauntlet 3 and the Gauntlet 2, which I imagine would be slower. One last thing to point out here is these are not necessarily on-the-go compatible. If your phone is compatible with external storage devices, there are some that can do that, then you might be able to connect these, but for anyone who's planning on plugging one of these into their phone, that's not going to work except for a few specific phones, so no on-the-go compatibility. Just wanted to point that out.
Okay, so they showed me some really neat new things. They're not even released yet. They're not even out. They're not even ready for production. These are actually all prototypes. So we've got a keyboard with multi-zone. It's a hand rest. It's magnetic, but it's got multi-zone capabilities. So you plug it in, it's all LEDs, and it's got a bunch of zones on here. 16. Right now, I think this one's 16, but that's not final, so they're just going to have a bunch of different ones. They might have 8. They might only have 2. No, I'm kidding. No, they're going to have a bunch, but they're not sure exactly what the final product is going to be. Mod keys up here. All these wonderful macro keys all over the place. Not sure what these are going to do, but they look cool, and they're going to do something. Maybe if you have an idea, you can put it in a comment somewhere. Otherwise, it's Gonna have full splash capability across the keyboard. It's gonna be pretty awesome. All right, so I gotta check out these awesome keys. Now these are Kale switches. These ones happen to be browns. They really like the browns, and there's reasons for that. But they've decided that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna make a series of browns, which I really like because it's great for typing in general. Now the cool part about the LED on these ones is that this has got 2 diodes in here for easier transition between colors and less flicker and all that kind of jazz, which is really neat. But again, they're Kale switches. These are browns. And they feel like browns. They're pretty nice. All right, so moving on to these awesome prototype mice. All 3 of these are all prototypes, so the innards are not set or specified. They just say, what you got on the shelf, just throw it in there. But they're going to have, this one here has got a couple buttons on the side. It's got the sensor adjustments, scroll wheel. It's almost ambidextrous. I say almost because it's slightly right-handed. So the left fin over here is a little bit bigger than the one on the right, but it can be used with the left hand, and they've got a left-handed guy here who's like, yeah, it works okay. The buttons on the side here, they might put more over here, who knows.
That one's got 7 colors.
And this one's got 7 colors. There's 7 different colors, and it's going to be pretty neat. Not full RGB, but that may also change. These 2 here are full RGB, and it's going to stay that way. This one here has got a series of buttons across the side. This is, again, also not quite final, but they've checking out where they can put these buttons. This one back here was a little funny to hit, so I was like, duh, that's not good. So they're thinking of a couple other designs on this one, but this is kind of neat. It's all going to be on this Viper line of gaming peripherals. This one here is the big MMO with the 12 buttons. And I was like, 9 of these are really great. The other 3 are a little hard to reach, but they're going to work on it and figure out what they're going to do with it. Also, very, very adjustment sensor here. This one they've got in here right now is kind of neat. It's actually got 8 sensor adjustments, and you can see where it's the 8 different positions, which is pretty awesome. It's not quite unibody, but all the buttons are unibody, so it's not separated here. It comes all the way back. This is also unibody. This is unibody. I really kind of like these mice. These are kind of neat. Now, these products are actually out right now. They've got the Viper gaming headset. It's a V360, which is kind of neat. It's, a headset. They've got a light on the bottom. It's a light on the bottom. They've got a bass booster, which is kind of funny. When they turned it on, I was like, do you just got vibrating motors in here? Because it sounds kind of nice. Because no, we've actually got a couple of subs in there, which is pretty nice and nifty. And this microphone is kind of neat because it just folds up, and once it's locked in a position, it turns the microphone off, and it's muted. This here is their current production line Viper gaming mouse. It's got a really cool button here that ejects the side off, which is just, the side piece. You've got a swap one here, so you've got a secondary swap. But it's also got a little button in here that ejects
It's a
your weight system. I miss these. These used to be like all the rage, and then everybody just stopped making them. And I think it has to do with a couple different things. And you started getting all the RGB and all the lights and all the different zones of lights and all the other cool shit. Keyboard is, I call this the Epileptic Keyboard because it's got the ability to just adjust the speed and slowness and cycle different modes. See if I can find the mode. There you go. Epilepsy. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is this really awesome SSD Pci Express Card. This thing's got 3,000 megabytes per second read and 2,200 megabyte per second write. It's actually really, really fast, and I'm pretty excited about getting a hold of one of these and putting it in a wood chipper and seeing how well and fast it gets chewed up by all the data I want to throw through it. I'm kind of excited. It's very cool. Look at that. I wish I could take it out and lick it.
The final rays of the setting sun are striking it. The time is upon us. It has begun.
I think we're done.
And I just broke their display. Oh no, I'm breaking things. I don't know. I don't know what I did.